So hello everybody that's in CIS 214. This is going to be just a short little video to talk about what we're going to do to get from where we are to the end of the semester without all going nuts, I suppose. As I think probably all of you are aware, we have been told by the community college system in Alabama that we are not going back to in-person classes until at least this summer. So we're going to finish the rest of this online. So that's going to cause some sort of interesting things, and that means that obviously a lot of this class is going to be through Blackboard, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for you to just wander down to my office and just wander in and ask questions, because as you can tell, right now I am not at Calhoun. This is the office that I have upstairs in my house, and if you walk into it, then I will probably be surprised and you will probably be arrested. So let's keep that to a minimum. So here's what we're going to do. Let's talk about kind of the plan from here on out. The first thing that I want you guys to see is that we have finally got a syllabus up here. So if you go to course information, you can see there's two files in here, the class syllabus, which generally sort of outlines the same sort of boilerplate stuff that you guys have seen a lot of so far, and the tentative schedule. So syllabus you're welcome to look over by yourself. I'm not going to read it to you. I think the thing that's probably most important for our purposes is to see what we've got here for the schedule. So today we are covering chapter 1, and we're just going to go through the pen test plus prep book and see how much of it we can get through. So this is the 10 chapters that we have here will take us through the rest of the semester, and we should be able to get through one chapter a class period without a whole bunch of trouble. And if you have a copy of that book, you'll probably notice that that does not encompass all the chapters of the book. I think there are 12, but that's okay. We're going to get through most of them. That book, which is noted in the syllabus, and I think we've talked about it in the discussion boards, is this one right here. So if you have not gotten a copy of this yet, well, with everything that's going on, good luck finding a online retailer that ships quickly. Amazon, I think, is probably being a little slow, so I hope that you guys already have a copy of this book. It's not too expensive. I think I was able to get it on Amazon for something like $30. So that's what we're going to be making reference to from here on out. So if you don't have that, please let me know in the discussion board, because you probably need to get that as soon as you possibly can. If you're looking at this schedule, you have probably noticed that there is not a spot on here for a midterm. Still trying to figure out what we're doing for a midterm, but that may or may not happen. We'll see. Let's see. Okay, so if you go to course content, you will see that we have something up here for chapter 1 resources, and this is going to tell you what you're going to need to do to get through chapter 1. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to read the textbooks, and then you're going to watch the video lectures. They will be in the same format as this thing right now, so it's not going to be tied to a specific time. I'm recording this at about 11 o'clock at night, and that's probably not when you're watching it, but don't worry about for those of you that have had work schedules that have changed. If you can't be online when the class normally met, that's fine. These things are going to not be streaming. They'll be posted on YouTube, and you can go back and rewatch them at any time. So we're not stuck to a particular time. You're gonna look at those lectures whenever you have the time. And then you're going to participate in the discussion board. Now, the discussion board is going to be analogous to what we were doing for in-class work. In terms of your grades, that's how it counts. And for each chapter that we cover, there will be a discussion board. You can see that the form is right here, and right now it's set to where you are not allowed to see anybody's answers until you post one yourself. So this is going to be a graded exercise. What I'm hoping that you guys will do is post an initial response to the question. For this is one of the questions that the textbook gives at the end of chapter 1, so that's where that comes from. But if you post an answer to that, an initial answer that goes into a reasonable amount of detail, and then you reply to somebody else's. Obviously, if you're the first one that posts something there, you will not have anything to reply to, so you'll have to keep track of this as kind of as the class goes on. Not sure how well this is going to work, but we're going to give it a try and see what happens. But that is going to be sort of the equivalent to the screenshots that we were turning in last time. With the book that we're using now, there's a lot less in the way in terms of hands-on exercises, and a lot more in terms of just understanding concepts and getting ready for those concepts for the test. So that's what we're going to mainly concentrate on. It's kind of fortuitous that we don't all actually have to have VMs at home anymore. We should be able to do most of this just using Blackboard. So you're going to participate in that discussion board. Let me go back to let's see what we've got here: course content and chapter 1 resources. And then the next thing that you're going to do is the chapter homework. Now the chapter homework, you can see right here, is this is the stuff that referenced the older textbook that we were just finishing up before we started the pen test textbook. Pen test chapter 1 is what you're going to do for this chapter. Now this is not these are not test bank questions like we were using when we had a Cengage textbook. These are questions that I've had to make up, and so they're probably a little bit easier. I think they're a little bit easier and a little bit more straightforward than the questions that you guys are used to. So they're graded a little bit differently. You still have 3 chances to do this, but instead of taking only your highest grade, it's going to average all 3 grades if you take it 3 times. If you take it twice, it'll average your 2 grades. If you only take it once and you're happy with your grade there, you'll only, averaging 1 grade is just that 1 grade. So that's how the math works out. These are in order. So if you sit down with the textbook and you are reading, you should be able to read the chapter and do the homework and pretty much go straight through it. That's probably the easiest way to do that. The homework that looks like this is going to still correspond to the homework the way the first half of this class worked, and the way homework is normally graded in terms of percentage of your grade. So what I want you guys to have sort of know is the takeaway here is we're going to come up with something probably with honor lock for a midterm and a final, and those are going to be pretty much the same. For those of you that are not aware, the campus is closed for the public, and that doesn't just mean the general public, that means you. You are not supposed to be on campus, so the testing center is not open at all. So we've got to figure out how to do this online, but that's going to be what we'll do for a midterm and a final. The homework pretty much stays the same, except I'm having to do a lot more work to generate the questions, and the in-class discussion that we would normally do is going to be with the discussion boards. The discussion boards are where I would expect you're going to spend most of your time. The lectures that I'm going to put together, the video lectures, since there's not the sort of back and forth and discussion that we had in the classroom, they're going to be substantially shorter than what we're used to having, where I would get up there and talk for 3 hours or whatever it was. We're not going to be doing anything that's that long, because I want you to spend your time on the discussion board interacting with each other, and I'll be on the discussion boards as well. A couple other notes here. So when we're doing stuff on the discussion board, I'm looking for you guys to actually interact with the ideas that you are presenting here. So if you just get up there and say my response is, yeah, that was great, or I agree, it's not really what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for you guys to do is say, well, here's where I think you were insightful and I hadn't thought about this, and bring something else, expand somebody else's ideas. Or if you think they're wrong about something, you can say, well, I'm not quite sure I agree. This is what I think would be a better way of explaining that data. We are going to make sure that we are polite to each other when we're doing these sort of things online. Being able to disagree and still keep it civil is not something that humans are good at when we're interacting via computers. If you have ever had any social media account ever, you're probably aware of that. Let's keep it civil, and that's gonna make this work a lot better than it would otherwise. The other thing is, let's talk about how you can get in touch with me. My office phone is on the syllabus, and that you guys should have a copy of if you've taken any of my classes before. that is forwarded to my cell phone. So if you call my office phone, it's going to ring on my cell phone, which is frequently off. So it's a good way to leave me a message, but depending on where I am, I may not get to it immediately. I'm going to try to be online for probably big chunks of Monday and Wednesday. This is just here on out for the rest of the semester, all Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'll post some links if you want to use Zoom or WebEx or Skype to get in touch with me. The other thing you can just do is shoot me an email, and most days I'm pretty close to my computer. So I think that's about it. Please don't get behind with this. This is going to wind up being a little bit more self-paced than it is when you guys are actually sitting in class. So please keep up, and we should be okay. So if you have questions about this, or if you want to talk about it, let's talk about this in the discussion board that's on Blackboard. If you guys have questions that you think might be applicable to everybody else in the class, you can post them there instead of emailing me. Then this means that I can just go talk about it on the discussion board instead of having to answer the same email a dozen or so times. So that makes it a little easier on me if we can talk about this on the discussion board. I've seen that some of you are already using that. That's great. So that's the plan. And if you have questions, let's talk about it, and we'll get through this together. So good luck, everybody.